I got to tell you, here's the first question for you, Dustin. So this weekend, we're in Columbus, Ohio for the One Nation SeaWorld Series. Vandy, Jared Vanderhoof, Gonzo, they're in the car with us. They're in the truck with us. And you. Did you expect to get that kind of historic tour of Columbus throughout the weekend?
It was nice. Columbus is the insurance capital of the world. Is that what you said?
Well, it's a budding one. Yes, it's a major insurance hub. Hartford, Connecticut used to be the insurance capital of the world. However, I believe Columbus, Ohio, is taking over that moniker now.
Okay, I did
Oh.
see a nationwide building, and we're not sponsored by them, but I did see that.
Nationwide, we're on your side too.
Yeah. Use code BIP at nationwide.
Yeah, get
No,
yourself
don't
a
do that.
nice insurance bundle. See what happens.
Yeah. It was a fun time, man. That was a good
Yeah,
tournament. I feel like it was well run. It was pretty much on time for the most part. Some of our games were pretty long. Um, but yeah, it was good. I gotta tell you, I really like that designated hitter, home run hitter rule. I
I do
really
too.
like it a lot. And the one thing that I noticed and
Mhm.
was the teams that could have that guy hit home runs every single time were the good teams.
Yes, I think having a guy that can look at it like it's a BP home run derby session
Yeah. And
is
just get up there
ideal.
and just yeah. And it makes it like it having him and it has to be in the 2 hole. Like I don't understand. Like I don't some teams had it in the 3 and I was like, I don't think that's good. But it's like
No,
the 2 hole is perfect because you almost start every game off with 2 runs.
well, the one team that
Like
did
that's
have
the
it in the
ideal
three hole,
situation.
we did lose to him.
Yeah, and I'm saying right, but and that guy was also trying to push it, which I was like, oh my goodness. I think he flew out to right field and center field.
Yeah. Um, no, you're right. You think
Ooh,
back to it, like I'm going through the teams we played, and like who was it? Oh, it was Tri City. Tri City's DHH. I think it went 3 for 4 or 4 for 5 with 3 home runs, 4 home runs, and that's huge.
yeah. And what I was going to say previously was rolling the top of the order is fucking massive.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? When you can have and the games we were winning and the games, I mean, all the games were really great, but the games like our bottom was almost always rolling the top.
The bottom was gross. Our bottom was fucking
And
gross.
then if you
Shout
can get
outs.
to if you get to the home run hitter, that's just like that means you've probably scored 5 runs in that inning.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Well, well, that's what Coco. Pardon me, Coco. Coco's not going to be with us here tonight. He had some, his family commitments this evening, but he won't be with us. And he even said it. He's like, it seemed like 11 running innings were a common thing with us this weekend. He must have missed the innings where the goose eggs came, but whatever. We'll
Yeah.
let him think that. But no, like, and that's exactly it. Like once you're even when you're out of home runs, you get back to that DHH. It's huge. That DHH, it's not just go up there and big dick swing. It's also go up there and be patient, look for your pitch. Because if you draw a walk, now that's a free home run throughout the lineup, and that is
And is
I
that
like
just
that.
in the inning, or is it just the inning, or is it the entire game?
It
The next
carries
one
over
is free.
until he's back up.
Whoa.
So you
Oh,
go
nice.
9 batters, 10 batters, however many batters you have, it goes
Because
until the DHH comes back up.
yeah, I might have walked one, two, three of them at some
I thought
point,
you
maybe
did too.
two.
I thought you only had
Yeah,
two.
that was tough. But I think I only let up like 4 runs from the home
It,
run
and that was
total
it because
in those 2 home runs. Yeah.
Schlabau Towing used it when they were chasing us. They used it for a 2 run shot when they were out, and it's like not ideal.
The next team did too. I think it was the first team we lost to.
Tri City, which they were.
Right.
I know
They
they
were
were
good,
pissing
but
some of our guys off, man, but I love that vibe they had going. I
they
love
did
that
have a
vibe.
vibe going. The
Yeah, they did.
double and then the when it was the that's huge. That was pretty sick too.
Yep.
I don't know if
Yep.
you heard that. If they got a zero, they would just start screaming, "That's huge!"
Yeah.
And that was yeah, it was fun.
The
It
double dance
wasn't.
they had was great. No, it wasn't fucking awesome. The double dance, they give a little double thigh slap and then throw it in the dugout, and everybody goes, "Hey!" Like it was. I was. That's a good double dance.
Yeah,
Gets everybody involved.
when you get everybody involved, that's when double dances really start to take over the game.
Yeah. I was laughing. I saw Vandy. Vandy was on One Nation's page with one of his beautiful doubles, and you see me coming out of the dugout doing my fucking when a guy get a double and I'm doing my celebration jerking off and throwing it at him. I'm like, yeah, that's not the one, but it worked. I like Vandy did find his though, especially with smoke. It worked
Yeah. Well,
well.
I liked he also was doing the
Peace.
peace sign. Yeah.
Vandy's a fucking. We won't share the story. Just if you know Vandy or Gonzo, and you want to know the story about Friday night when we picked him up at the hotel or at the airport, and then went to Hibachi, just send him a message. Ask him. Say, hey, what was up with Friday night before One Nations?
At the horrible hibachi restaurant.
Have you
It
ever
was
been
good
to a
times.
Hibachi where they didn't put on a show?
Yeah, Friday evening when that guy attempted, dude, and the fucking lard pancake that you ate.
I
What
knew you were
was
going
that?
there. Oh,
What was
so
that? Oh
So
no.
I'm looking at another table and I see this slop get thrown on there. I think you might have seen it too. Like, were we sitting next to each
Yeah,
other?
he used
Yeah.
the spatula to dig into that thing.
We see it
Oh,
slop down on our grill and we're like, what the fuck? Now, this hibachi guy was bad because he didn't even know the orders and the tickets right there. So he throws down three and two ladies. So the other group at our table got it. And we're like, what is this? It kind of looked like, what did I say? Aged semen in like Crisco with an
I
egg
don't know.
mixed in. Like,
Yeah, it was
it didn't look
like
good.
it was mixed fat and egg, I think. It was almost like a pancake, but almost like just lard. Yeah.
Yeah. So
It's very strange.
one of the ladies at our table, they had an extra one. I'm like, we're all like, what the fuck is that? And now she made me look anorexic. No, not shaming anybody for their weight or anything, but she was a larger woman, and she's like, well, do you want to try some? And of course, I'm not going to say no. So I tried it, and it was just pure grease and oily, fatty, fucking disgusting.
Yeah, it
Brutal.
was it was it was interesting because I was also fascinated by it, just by the look, the way that that when he cut one in half, it didn't just spill all over the grill.
And she
I
said
have
it's
no
a
idea how those
sauce.
things stayed together. Yeah, she did say it was a sauce too. If you know this sauce, please put
Oh,
it in the comments
yeah,
so we
yeah.
can look it up and have a video, maybe show everybody what
Tell
the
me,
inside of
tell
that
me.
thing looked like, that he was the bin that he was taking it out of. I was like, what is he doing here?
That it's like a sourdough starter. It never gets changed. You always just kind of take a piece of it to keep
Yeah.
the sourdough starter over years, and I think that is what that fucking thing was. That bin had been changed for a long time.
Yeah. It was a nice enough place. It was edible, but it
It was
wasn't
fine.
great.
The boys were
Yeah.
together. Gonzo needed a little bit of it to just kind of come back to life a touch, but I think he actually went back to sleep.
And Vandy with the soup bowl trick.
The ultimate Vandy had the ultimate fucking life hack.
Yeah, that was
Vandy had the
beautiful.
ultimate life hack.
Yeah. You take the soup bowl after you're done with the soup. You hold on to that. Maybe even flip it upside down in the middle of your plate.
Mm-hmm.
And then what you do is, once the rice is cooked and they put it on your plate, you put it all under there and smash it all in there so that it keeps the rice warm. Then you get all your other fixings, which you pretty, I don't know, the hibachi is one of those things where it's like, okay, they're putting out my vegetables, and in 5 minutes I'm gonna get the meat. Want it all together. But anyway.
Well, Curdy was even like, he's not even Asian, so she was already put off by him.
There's no tower.
What's that? No, there was no onion tower,
There
no
was no
onion
onion tower.
volcano.
There was no squirting of the liquid. It was
Sake.
yeah, the sake. It was
Oh,
a bust.
it at home. when you do it on like a Blackstone. Literally, like it's just like, oh, hey, watch this. Ooh, the guy tried flipping a fucking egg and smashed it on the flat top.
Three of four eggs he missed.
You know, that was
I think he was 1 for 4, where he flipped it and got it on the edge. The other times he flipped it, and it was like, well, it's like broke before he even got to that point on the first flip up to catch it.
Yeah, like come on, man.
Yeah, well, yeah.
It was well. That's the funny thing. I started broadcasting, doing my play-by-play like I do, while we were there, and I'm moving forward now into one of the games. When I started streaming, I think the first game we streamed, that was on our my personal page. Then we went to the Bring It page, and Tony's sitting there. He's like, "Are you live right now?" I'm like, "Oh no, Tony, this is just what I do." I'm like, I literally will sit like D. Now like wherever we go, I'll start doing the play-by-play in color.
Yeah,
and Tony just looks.
I had to
like, what the
warn
fuck
those
is wrong
guys.
with you? Yeah,
I had to warn our truck mates. Like if you hear him just start going, that's normal. He's not actually live.
Don't worry. There's no hot mic anywhere you need to worry about. Oh fuck. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Bring It. We got a big night ahead of us tonight. We're starting to get into the end of the long season that it is of softball. We're starting to see some, we had the One Nation Worlds out in Ohio this weekend. We had the E Nationals. We had the C Nationals in here in the Northeast. I like this time. I like this time of year. This is a fun time of year because you get to see everything you've been working on throughout the season finally come to a culmination, if you will. You're starting to prepare for Nationals. You're starting to prepare for Worlds. How are you set up? Was the 4 tournaments you won back in April and May that nobody remembers, was that your entire year, or are you peaking at the right time like a man that just took a blue pill? Dustin, what's happening, baby? What you drinking over there?
What's up, JRo? Tonight stopped into Burt's, and they recommended this little number here. It's Bellflower Brewing. It's a Finch and Thistle double dry hopped IPA. It is fantastic.
Ooh.
So thank you very much for the recommendation, the great recommendation. What do you got over there?
Well, it's funny. I'm working on just doing this right here. Yeah, Brian does a great job over at Bird's Beers. It's just over, since he took ownership, it's just over a year old now. Over here in Manchester, New Hampshire. He does great. Like I'm in there fucking weekly. Like he didn't see me at the end of last week. He's like, he was away, so it worked out. He didn't know I wasn't in there over the weekend. It was perfect. I walked in. I'm like, dude, I'm fucked right now. I've been drinking nonstop for the last 36 hours.
And so he knows you. He knows that you are Jason. He said, "I'm not sure on your name. I confuse you and Coco." But yeah.
No, so I went random tonight. I went with a couple of beers from one from Colorado, one from North Dakota, and 2 from Jersey. I went with I've got right now I'm drinking a IPA, an IPA, an oats milk sugar IPA. Had a Turkish coffee porter from Jersey, and I've got 2 fruited sours on deck. So I feel like I don't have enough beer for how much I've been drinking. Like yesterday, we started at I was in Chicago, so we were in Ohio over the weekend, and after we finished the tournament, I flew to Chicago, met up with a couple colleagues. And Monday morning, I'm going down to get a coffee, and my colleague's like, "Yeah, you're not having coffee. I want a beer." He's like, "What do you want?" I'm like, "All right, let's go." So we started drinking at 9:30 yesterday morning Central Time, if that really matters. We ended around 11:30ish, 12 o'clock.
Whew.
It was a solid day. We all took turns throughout the day. There's 3 of us. We all took turns of being shitty, and it all worked. Like I had the first shift. My other colleague, we went on the River Architecture Tour of Chicago, which if you've never been, if you go to Chicago, absolutely, it's my second time doing it. It's amazing. She had it during the tour piece, which she's like, oh, I kind of wish I remembered some of it. And then the third, we went for deep dish because she had never been to, that colleague had never been to Chicago. So, we did the deep dish piece. And he had it for the end of the night. I got to tell you, the shift, I'm glad I had. I'm glad I had the morning shift.
There you go.
But we went to this bar that I've had a lot of success when I was single at. A lot of shit shows come from in Chicago. I was there, and next thing I know, I've like, in a span of 15 minutes, I have 5 shots in front of me. 2 Malort, 2 JMOs, and a Cinnamon Toast Crunch shot. It was great. I was ready to go.
How much alcohol is in a Cinnamon Toast Crunch shot?
It's in like rum shata and Fireball. So it's not like,
Okay.
it's just.
But it just tastes probably.
It's tasty. So good. So
Yeah,
good.
I don't even know if I've had one, but it just sounds fantastic. I'm not a big shots person.
Me either. So me having
But when
5.
they're just like, this is what's happening.
Well, so like
You have a day.
I walked in and like I was feeling good. So this couple next to us, it was they weren't a couple, but it was a couple next to us, and they were starting a Melrose Place tribute band. I'm like, automatically walk it in, and we're talking about this. I'm like, you're my people. Like, you guys got this fucked up thing that you're trying to do. I'm like, let's have a night. So then we took over the jukebox and had a fucking great day. So he got a JMO shot, and then we got another JMO shot. Then that Cinnamon Toast Crunch came, and then my 2 colleagues were like, we gotta get him some Malort. Do you know what Malort is?
No.
It's just
No
like
clue.
Chicago liquor that's like turpentine. So all of a sudden I'm sitting there, and they didn't tell me this till after. 2 shots of Malort end up right in front of me. And I'm like, Tiffany, what did you do? This was the bartender. I'm like, what the fuck just happened? So I took the first one. I was like, no, it's not that bad. It's kind of like a licoricey, paint thinner kind of a taste. Maybe my shift got extended from the morning, and like I picked up on the back half of my other colleague that was hammered on the boat. And I took the second one down too, like a champ. And then I was like, Tiffany, you got to get me some food. Give me something that's gonna soak up all this booze I just took. So she got me a burger and some tots. It was lovely. But no, it's fun. Chicago's a great city. Chicago's a great. Have you been?
I've been to Chicago very briefly. Just a tour.
Okay.
So it was like,
Oh, you were on
don't
tour.
really-
Yeah.
yeah, I was there for maybe a day.
Yeah.
Which I get you were there for maybe a day, like maybe a day this time around, but you've probably been there in the past too.
8:00 started 8:30 on Sunday night. But one of my colleagues I met there, he's fucking calling me at like 6:30. He's texting me at 6:30 in the morning. Hey, you want to go for a run? I'm like, do you want to go fuck yourself?
A run.
Fuck you.
Dude, imagine.
No.
I would be like,
No. Like I want to. I haven't slept since Thursday because my flight to Columbus was at 6 in the morning, so I was up at 4. And then we had an early morning Saturday in the sun, or on Sunday, all day Sunday in the sun. Like, fuck. So yeah, it was we really fit a lot in a short amount of time. It was
yeah. So
felt like
Malort,
Vegas.
Malort kind of sounds like my introduction to Everclear, which was from like my New
God.
Jersey friends. And they were like, you can't get this really anywhere. We couldn't get it anywhere around here. So yeah, and Everclear is fucking awful.
Everclear is like that's just straight
like
rubbing
paint thinner.
alcohol.
Yeah, it's paint
that's rubbing
thinner.
alcohol. It's Kitty Dukakis's cocktail.
Yeah.
Everclear is what you
Cool.
put in a punch. Like Everclear's like that's what that is. Everclear, when you're in college, the fraternities, you put that in a punch to kick it up a notch.
Yeah,
Malort actually
awful.
had a taste, but it was. Listen, I'm not going out to buy a bottle of Malort. Let me just tell you that much.
It
But
also
then
had
when my
terrible name. Like it makes it sound bad. You know, Malort.
hemorrhoid sounds better than Malort, for fuck's sake. And D is just completely frozen right now.
Who's freezing? Is it me or you?
Oh, there you go. You're back. You're back. I don't know.
Okay.
Um,
You freeze on my end. I don't know who actually freezes.
yeah.
So
But no, it was Malort sounds like, like I'd rather have a hemorrhoid than a shot of Malort.
I don't know about that. Malort.
Just by the sound, just by the
Just by
sound
the
of
name.
the names. The names. Not I don't like
All I-
hemorrhoids are
yeah.
not fun.
Honestly, my first thought when you said Malort was Voldemort. I was like picturing Voldemort, and I was like, what kind of drink is this?
Oh, but it was, and then my one colleague, when we're leaving, we're going to the airport, and she's like, man, I really wish I had some Malort. Like, why? I'm like, I
Like a
had two
bottle of
shots in
Malort
front of
home.
me. Like, why didn't you could have had one? She's like, oh, because that was her shift where she was shit housed.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, you didn't want me vom. I would have vomed. Which I also love that. Like, that's a nice one. Like, you don't want the vom. Like, where it's
You
not
don't
the
want the
vomit,
vom.
it's the vom. I'm like,
The
yeah,
vom.
you're right. That's, yeah, because I didn't want to be fucking playing. I need a chaperone when I go to a casino. I don't want to chaperone anybody when I go to a bar.
Yeah.
So take care of your shit. We're adults. We're in our fucking. They're in their late 30s. I'm in my 40s. So, but anyway, let's dive right into One Nation. Into the World Series that we were out at. Both of us with Smoke. We were out there for the One Nation Sea World Series. You probably saw some of the streams up on the page here. Thanks to Dustin. I typically, when I'm streaming games, I'm only putting it on my personal page. I rarely stream, but when I do, it's on my personal page. And D's like, this is the World Series. You're like, put it on there. Come on.
Yeah. I mean, anytime any of us stream, which isn't a whole lot, we should just stream it to bring it. More people are probably going to watch it. More people will see it.
More
They'll
people
know
see
where to
BIP
look for it.
21.
Yeah. Yeah. They'll be able to use code BIP21 at Slugger Slow Pitch at checkout for 20% off.
I got to tell you, that was fun this weekend because Gonzo has his own code, which we are not going to broadcast. And then we have our code, BIP21 at sluggerslowpitch.com. And he would hit his double. I'm like, yeah, go ahead and use his code for that. I'm like, but if you really want savings. So
Right.
I tag teamed it. Now, you've been a Berliner before. Have you ever been a Berliner when it's not been winter?
Yeah. So I went for an ASA national. We actually
Oh.
we got to talking in our ASA chat, which is coming up, or USA chat. And yeah, I played against a bunch of those guys back in like 2013 or 2014 when I was out there.
Okay.
And that tournament was all right. And then it was like pouring rain for like a good majority of the tournament. Like one of our games got postponed because like a bat went flying up the first baseline and then a bat went flying down the third baseline. And when the second one happened, they were like, all right, we're not playing right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, but this weekend was by far the best weekend I've been out there. This is
Love
probably
that
like
complex.
85, 90 or 80 to 90 at any point, and just super sunny. I guess Saturday was a little bit cooler.
A little cooler on Saturday, but the nice thing
Yeah.
is too is you have a cover on all the dugouts. So like, while it's still warm, there is some shade in the bench, which is welcomed. I love this complex, this Lou Berliner Sports Complex in Columbus, Ohio. I think it's my favorite complex I've played at, and reason being, and I got into a great conversation with Gonzo and Vandy about 300 because I like a 325 field. I think that's a really great softball field dimension, and they are actually like, no. They're like, you could put a good E team against a major team. They would have a shot. I'm not saying they would beat them, but, because it was an extreme example, but they're saying at 300, it's a neutralizer because people can hit a ball 300 feet.
Yeah. So I think I've said the same thing about supplied bats.
Yep.
And really, really good balls.
Oh, what's that ball you have there?
This is just an ASA ball. Probably it's a 52-300. So not great for you, Trip. But really good balls, like the Baden fires that we've been using at like the firecracker.
Yeah.
Like I think of the firecracker and the Bololi as being equalizers. You know what I mean? They're all in the same types of fields. They're using really good, really, really good balls and really good bats that are good right out of the wrapper. So yeah, I think that is all an equalization piece. I think the 300, they're right in that aspect, because I would say a good majority of slow pitch players can probably hit it in between 300 and 325.
Yeah.
But I think it drops off pretty significantly once you hit 325 plus.
you're definitely right, and I think maybe that's why I like it. And you're right. Once you start going up the ranks, obviously at E, there's maybe a handful of guys in the tournament. D, you're going to get more people. You're significantly more, let's say. And C, you're going to get majority of, and then keep moving up at that 325. I like 325 just because you get people that can hit home runs, can still hit them, and you get people that can just kind of use their thing. Outfielders are going to be fucking miserable, but I like that field dimension. But I also understood the other side of it when we started talking about it. I'm like, yeah, it falls right in that supplied bat, supplied bat category where it
Yeah,
is just
a 300-foot field is
or
yeah,
yeah.
it is an equalizer. I think that's why also when you see teams go to play in New Hampshire, like upper teams,
Mm-hmm.
the lower teams can compete with them because they are playing at fields that are 290.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that opens the door to even more people who can hit it out.
Mm-hmm.
So it is, yeah. I mean, the more home runs each team can use makes it so that it's closer, but the way those teams use their home runs is going to be what separates them
Right.
ultimately.
But I do like this complex. Like, we started off we went big field, which their big fields are big, 350, they're baseball fields, 350, 360 to center, 300s down the line, 310s down the line. We went big field, little field, back to 300, back to the big fields. And, it's just vastly different games. Gap shots are now triples. They're fun. I enjoyed being on that big field. I obviously wasn't in the outfield, so I'm sure Vandy and Gonzo and Kevin have some other things to say. But I like in that complex you have different variety of fields, and this is why I like Lou Berliner because it's a massive complex. It's 30 plus fields, right? And you have everything from fast pitch to baseball and everything in between, and you have different dimensions. And it is, I mean, we went over to that one quad where it was like what 1-4, 1-3-4, 1-2-4, where Power Sports trailer was, and they have that one field where it's 315, but it's right up against the swamp or river, and they've got a green monster esque fence, which I'm like, I love that. That's a fuck. Like if you're at a home runs, just go 5-6, cut the ball, and you're gonna hit a double every time
Right.
when you elevate it. But I like this complex a lot. It's a fun place to play, and you're right. These tournament games, even when they were going long, by the end of the day, they were still like I think I was talking to some of the Van Wert Frickers guys. They still finished early.
Even when the scores were high.
I think they were supposed to play like an 8 o'clock, 8:30 game. I think it started at 7:45 at the end of the night.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I mean, you saw it in. I think we scored the most amount of runs we did in a game and the least amount of runs we did in a game in the two games that we played on the baseball fields.
Yes.
So I mean, it was weird in that aspect because the game that we played was a 10-8 game
God, that's right.
with
It was
with the
wasn't it?
big with the massive gaps. So like guys were just not hitting those gaps. You know what I mean?
Who
Like
was that 10-8 game?
that was Young Money, I think.
Young Money. I thought Young Money were on the small field, but like I know people were really looking forward to Young Money and us play smoking Young Money, and we even heard people like I heard some people say like, that was a little disappointment
Not
game, but
great.
they were like,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, like even our balls weren't flying like we thought they were gonna. I'm like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, field 15, 10-8
Wow,
against
that is
Young Money.
wild.
Yeah. So yeah,
It
I mean
starts
it
blending
was
in.
yeah, that it was I like the smaller fields though. I do like the 300-foot fields. The only thing I actually don't like it you said you like the difference in fields. I don't like the difference in fields when it comes down to a world situation.
I agree. It should be consistent throughout.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but on the opposite side, you also go down to Florida. All the fields are the same, and you're now fighting different like whipping winds.
Yes.
So I mean, all of
Weather
these things
factors.
play into effect. You know what I mean? When you come in, you're never going to get a tournament that's like the same game you would play every single time you know what I mean? Whether you're on this field or that field at Worlds. So
No, that's a good point. I didn't even think about it. And we were talking about maybe hitting on one of the baseball fields on Sunday, and I think you had brought it up, and Gonzo and Vandy were like, "No, we're playing on a 300-foot field. Let's hit on the 300-foot field." It's like, yeah, that's what we'll do, and that's what we did. Um, the DHH was great. I got to tell you, and you know how we are here with umpires, and we support you motherfuckers. I probably saw the word one of the worst strike zone I've ever seen playing softball.
Whew. Yeah.
Game two against Schlaba Towing. Holy shit, D.
He was, yeah. So for
You're the
those
reason
not
we
in,
won that game.
I mean, I don't know about that, but like I don't know if the umpire really was the reason we won. I don't.
No,
think.
I said you were the reason we won.
Oh well,
because
he
and this
just
is why.
One
you
Nation
found
is
how to
5,
hit the flat pitch.
Yeah, U-Trip is 5 feet to 10 feet off the ground, and this guy was calling him 4 feet off the ground.
One Nation.
Like he was, but the umpire for this game was calling him like 4 feet off the ground, which, I mean, we were talking about it. It changed, even though we won the game. We know that game was completely changed in that aspect by the umpire.
It was like, and we were playing an Amish team. I think they're like half Amish, and never seen these guys lose their cool before, and they lost their shit. It was. I mean, it was. You were getting both the high strike and the flat strike. It was fucking wild. You can't get both, and you did.
Yeah, I did, and
you adjusted quicker than the other guy. I think that was the difference.
Yeah, the wind was nice that game too for a pitcher.
Where was it? It was in you. Was it into you? You said
it was like into me, but also like coming across me
a
little bit. So I mean, it was just nice because especially when you can throw a flat, hard knuckleball into the wind.
Good luck.
Like it makes it that much better for a pitcher. The lower you can throw a knuckleball, I feel.
You look like Tim Wakefield up there.
Yeah. I don't know. It was fun. It was fun to play in that game because, going into it, I had heard how good this team was that we were playing.
Yeah.
And to see them lose their cool and because they lost their cool, they ended up, it wasn't competitive.
No.
So it was interesting to see.
And they have some good players. I like that team a lot. I actually got to know, we played them, and actually we lost to them at the Mojo with the ball that was a home run. That wasn't a home run. That went under the fence. That was the team we lost to. But that was, even I'm sitting there and I'm just like, well, fuck it. Like you and I talked a lot, and you weren't listening. You weren't listening. Like I'm not saying anything to you that you didn't know. It's just like fucking keep living in that flatness. Like he's giving it to you. Keep living there.
Yeah, it was good because it was so hard to hit though. As a hitter, it was so hard to hit. It was a 4 foot. It never got more than 4 feet. And then he would make you land it like right behind the plate. There's no way to hit that.
No.
You know what I mean? Like he was giving like maybe 1.5 feet behind the plate for any pitch. Mm-hmm. And then it was 4 to like 12 feet. It was very hard to hit in that game.
Well, and then we had him the next day and it wasn't as bad.
Yeah, then it wasn't as bad at all.
Like where?
Someone must have said something.
Yeah.
That's what I'm wondering.
Because I saw him and I was like, we talked about it. I'm like, D, we might have him. And then we had him. I'm like, D, get that flat shit going again. We're gonna be good.
But he started calling the flat strike a little bit more, and realistically the games were better because of his change strike zone. I think.
I agree. Like they were better games. But it was, I was hoping we could use it to our.
We could use that flat. Yeah, use that little flat strike. Oh boy! But what a good tournament this was.
Well, and here's an interesting thing. You heard a lot of people talking about it too, with the Van Wert Frickers being a C, One Nation team, but being a Conference B, USSSA team. They have a conference patch on them and everything, and like whatever. But they lost their first game of the tournament. Huge upset. And made a run.
Yeah, but that Koval team as well.
Is that who they beat? That's who beat them.
Yeah. So that was the only close game that Koval played until they played us.
Really?
Yeah. So they run ruled. Then they beat the Frickers 21-18. Then they run ruled again. Then they lost to us 28-22.
Wow. Yeah, that
So
was.
that was a good run out. That team's good. If that team goes to USSSA Worlds, watch out for them.
Yeah, I was listening to one of their God, I forget his name. I met him back in at the Mojo, but even in conference, they haven't been run ruled much. You know, by the big guys, sure, like Resi and Monster, different. But like
Yeah,
when they're playing Conference B, Conference A, they're 6-19, something like that in conference. But they're
yeah,
in all those games, and the other thing that really played to their advantage, and it caught up to them on Sunday, they never had to play 2, 3, 4 games in a row, Saturday or Sunday, until they had to go on a
late.
run like
Yeah,
late.
yeah. I think it was after the
It was after our game
it was after our first game at
on Sunday.
9:15. Then from that point on, they had to play on.
They played at 8 o'clock, and then we were at 9:15, and then they were on the field until they lost.
Yeah.
But no, that's a good team. That Tri City team, good team. Um, I like
That
One Nation's interesting. It's interesting how it's really so big out in Ohio, but
that Rivals team was good. That won it. They were
yeah,
unassuming when we were playing them. I thought we were going to win the game the entire game.
all game
Like
long.
I
I thought we
like I
had
was
that
just
game in the
like
bag.
this. Yeah, we were keeping it close enough, and we had home runs and we were home the entire game. I thought we were. There's no way we're losing this game.
Yeah,
But
I thought we had second place locked up.
so they got that one, and then every single one of their games was within a run or two. I feel
Really, and
they won
that's
17-15, 21 to they won 21 to 16, 32 to 31, 21 to 20. They
wow.
lost 21 to 20.
Okay,
And then
like they just went on a
then
run.
then the last 3 games were all within 1 or 2 runs
And
that
this
they
is
played.
something that is so important is the fact that those tight games, knowing how to win those tight games is huge. Huge. Like
Absolutely.
those are big. That's bigger than going out there and sure, you get up 10 on a team, knowing how to stay on the gas is hard. Because score effects really do come into play there. But when you're in a dogfight every fucking game, like that's mentally tiring, and you continue to do it, and then you go double dip it. Congratulations to Rivals. ASC. I messed it up in the broadcast. It was DSC, but ASC Rivals. Wow, hell of a run.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
it's
that
great.
kid, it's a kid pitching.
Yeah. I think it said that he was 20 years old.
Fuck.
So he was pretty good. He had a nice little snippety snap,
Yeah.
few
Say
snippety
sorry. We're
snaps.
probably gonna post that on TikTok.
But yeah, he was good. He defended the middle very, very well.
And he hit
And
well.
yeah, I mean, see, the thing is, I felt like we were so close to them the whole game. I was like, man, I felt honestly like it was weird. It was like a couple of their guys who hit it down the left field line, righties who hit it down the left field line. I feel like that's a huge thing in C's because everyone kind of plays to the push side. So if you can hit it,
Yeah.
if you can hit line drives over the third baseman, you're the double every single time.
You're right. I didn't even think about that, and that's a tough swing.
Yeah.
It's a tough swing to have. It's just
Yeah.
like trying to put it down the right field line as a righty too. Like trying to
It's
paint a
easier.
line.
Yeah, it's easier to go down the right field line
Yes.
without hitting a home run,
Way easier.
right? So,
I mean, think about when you're out of home runs. You're trying to go. If you're trying to go backside, I'm never worried about hitting a ball out backside because you're not trying to. But if you miss trying to go down the line or 5-6, that you miss that ball is either a double play or it's gone.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that team also is like 17th in power rating on UTrip.
Really.
That Rivals team.
Real,
C.
and
That's going to
C's or
be
D's. Okay. See.
C.
Okay.
So I looked at the Rivals and Tri City. Both of their UTrip rosters are nearly identical
Nice.
to their One Nation. So those are going to be teams to watch out for.
Well, and then that's the opposite of Young Money. Young Money's One Nation roster is pretty much what they were last year, but they lost guys to conference this year. Now they're they're U Trip. They're not playing a ton of U Trip because they lost
none of the
guys.
Yeah, none of those teams really do though. They might play in like 1 or 2 tournaments. Other teams to look out for, that J&L Sports, they kind of had that was kind of a flop for them.
Hmm.
I feel, but that team is really good in UTRIP. They're very high on. They're like 9-1 in class.
Oh shit! Really?
So that's a team. And if that Schlabach or however you pronounce it, if
Schlabach,
Schlabach,
Schlabach.
if they go to UTRIP Worlds, watch out for them too.
And they're like their center fielder is good. He's
Yeah,
fast. He's quick. Great cannon on him. And their left fielder, I don't know how he hits because he's their DHH, but he's another fast kid and very good defensively. Um, it's a different game, I think, out there too. Not and by game I mean I feel like the mentality is a little different. Like you get more of the hoorah type shit, right? A little mouthier. I feel like
you feel like it's mouthier out there.
I've no not mouthier, not chirping wise, but I felt like there was more vocality, like team. It almost felt like women's softball in a sense, where there was a lot of
So
like
yeah,
team
it's a
cheers.
world tournament. You got to get up for that world tournament.
Yeah, yeah. But
You
I
know
mean,
what
a
I
lot of
mean?
those teams are doing it like, yeah, that's a good point too. It just felt very different than like the worlds I've been to. But I mean, I've been to two worlds because I'm new,
Yeah,
which are larger tournaments. But like what's the Sea Worlds? 80 teams, 60 teams.
there's a lot of C teams this year.
I
It
hope it's
all
over
depends on
100
who.
this year.
If it's over 100, that'd be crazy.
Fucking sick. Um, but yeah, congratulations to ASC rivals. Great guys out of Tennessee. A lot of fun to play against. A lot of fun to watch. Like you said, D, it's going to probably be a team to watch at the U Trip level as well, and Tri City too. That was another good team. We haven't talked about that. Tri City was out of Grand Rapids. No, that was JNL. Tri City was Grand Rapids.
What's Tri City?
No, Tri City was Ohio. ASC Rivals was out of Tennessee. JNL was the one out of. Oh wait, who did we play first? Oh right, Koval. We played Koval out of Grand Rapids. That's where they were from, Michigan.
Yes.
But that Tri City team was very good as well. You know, that's definitely like you said. It's gonna be somebody to watch out for at CU Trip Worlds. Um, Tony, thanks. Yeah, like
Yeah,
I'm a guy with a mic.
absolutely.
Like, thanks for having us. Like, it was fun to be a part of it. You know, we've talked so much shit about smoke over the years. Now Dustin
Yeah,
was
and then I was
pitching
like,
all
oh,
weekend.
hey, I am a C plus in One Nation.
Oh,
Can I come to
Jesus.
Columbus with you guys? It was fun.
But
That he's got a
yeah,
really great squad,
yeah.
really good group of guys. Yeah, and we went on a little bit of a run ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh, we lost two very winnable games, very winnable games. But yeah, you still got to play.
It's
Got to
always the
play the game.
case, right? Like, if you don't win it, you look back and
That's
you're
what
like,
you want it to
"Fuck."
be. That's what you
Yeah,
want it to be. You know what I mean?
yeah,
You don't want to like when we went to B's and A's, like the two games
right.
we lost in B's were not winnable games. Like
What
those were games that just got away from us. So
yeah, you're right. I'd rather have it be like the dick sting of like we could have won both those games, or at least one to see what happens in the next. You
rather
always
than
want
get
that feel, and just be
absolutely
like,
stomped and be like, I don't belong here, do
yeah,
I?
this isn't where we should be. So,
Yeah.
um, no, but it was good, and yeah, that what a great experience. And Tony, thanks for everything this year. It was a fucking blast. And Tony Caruso is going to be inducted into the New York USSSA Hall of Fame. I believe in March. I think it's going to be up in Syracuse area, Verona maybe, wherever
Ooh.
the Turning Downs, the casino up in the Syracuse area. So I'll be heading out there for Tony Caruso's induction. I think Stowe's going to give it to him, which we got to load. Like, I want to load Stowe up with IPAs before he gives that commencement speech or that induction speech.
Yeah. Congratulations, Tony. I don't know if I'm connecting properly here. We just our connection is not great tonight.
Yeah, we're not work. No, I'm just fucking with you. Yeah, that happened earlier to me with me today too. To think we need Coco as a buffer.
Yeah, I don't know.
He found his spot.
My upload speed is like 700 plus right now.
Like, you're not freezing on my end, but well, let's move into Ease Natties. E Natties are this weekend, and a team we talked about beforehand went on a little bit of a run. The Scrappy Dudes had a nice little weekend. Looking at their qualifiers, they had a pretty good bracket to go to, and they took advantage of it. We talked about it early in that pod, saying, "Hey, look at these qualifiers; they're kind of in the middle of the pack. Can they utilize this to make a run?" And they did. They where the fuck are they? They won their first game by a run, 15-14. Then they beat Deeply Needed only 9-7. Actually, they won every game by only a couple, 10-8, and then then they beat Cookies Crew, who was probably one of the favorites to win this tournament. They beat the shit out of them, 15-3. They beat Young Guns, 15-5. Couple run rules here, but there is a little team. I don't want to say little. There's an old team.
You don't want to say old.
You either have to be under 22 or over 53 to play on this team. Fatman Mingyaville. Wow!
What a run from the boys, from Tony, softball Tony, dad.
What? Fucking settle. No, but that was awesome. I was talking to Vanty all day on Saturday. They were 2-0 because they started late because of the C Nationals, and then Vanty kept updating me. Which congratulations, Vanty, to your all tournament team. But we have a tournament MVP, which is fucking a podcast listener here, Michael Mahoney. He was the tournament MVP, which is awesome. I can't believe he got it because he's basically a fucking broken bitch right now. He's got injuries all over the place. But they went on a run, and and beat some teams. Like, they should have won their first game, which they did. They won it pretty easily, 18-6. Then they beat City Sound, who City Sound was a strong E team last year. Haven't heard them much this year.
City Sound is a strong team this year. Their differential in this tournament was 7.7.
Yeah, so they're still staying strong.
That's they were 7-2.
Real good.
7-2 this weekend with a 7.7.
Jesus Christ.
They don't let up many
who they lose
runs. Man, they don't.
They lost to Fatman.
Runs. Did they lose to Fatman? I mean,
they lost to Fatman 17-12.
So a good game against the champion, and then this is impossible to freaking read. I mean, there's 51 teams.
Yeah, they're late, so they probably lost.
They lost
in the other team bracket semifinals. They lost to Rev Sway Athletics 8-7.
Yeah,
8-7. So their two combined losses were for a total of 3 runs? Is that what I said?
I think so, 3 or 4. Yeah.
And they came in third. Like, that's your test right there. And Mingyaville beat 6. So they lost by 17-12. And then Bonfire, JLG Bonfire Wolfpack, who's a team we thought was probably going to do well, did talk about this after the Firecracker where they had another pitcher. They picked up Flanders to pitch for him, try to see if he would stay. They went on a run, in the Silver Flight. They lose to Fat Man again, 17-13. Then the small ball team, 13-12 Mingyaville. Then Top Dollar. Fucking Fat Man with another fucking run rule. And then we get to the winner's bracket final against Scrappy Dudes. And Mingyaville beats them 11-9. Like, Fat Man had themselves a weekend.
Yeah, and going back to Vanny, I heard that in the first championship game, he went in at the end of the game and started to shut them down. Then I believe he pitched the last game and completely shut them down.
Really?
Yes.
So he FaceTimed me Sunday night after they won, but I was at Mother Hubbard's in Chicago. Couldn't really hear much. And then I called him yesterday when I was out having a smoke, and I went right to voicemail. But yeah, they lost the first game of the championship, which we see 21-6, and then he shut them down in game 2, and Eric Gray saying correct, 15-11 in the if game. Like, what a run. This team's been sneaking around all year, kind of hanging around that top portions of tournaments, and what a run by these boys.
And I think it all started kind of last year around this time. I think they had a pretty decent national for not being a team that, like, you were assuming to win.
I think they finished like 5th last year.
Yeah, I think they might have been top 10, which is pretty decent in a 51.
They definitely were top 10.
So I mean, and especially for a team with all new kids, young kids too. I mean, they're playing D next year, but I would say so at the top 5 of this tournament.
Well, we were talking about this weekend. What do you want to see happen at Natty's?
for
bumps.
an auto bump.
Yep. We were talking about this weekend.
Team
I
of
liked what
50,
you were saying.
51. I think the top 3 makes sense.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that's a good. I think top 3 is a good number. Top 2 for sure.
Even top 10%. I think that's what I actually said on when we were talking about it. I think I
So that
said that would be the top 5 teams. So you got Top
yeah,
Dollar, Young Guns, City Sound, Scrappy Dudes, Rev, Sway, and Fatman. So you're
and
welcome to the national committee crew. Those are your 6 teams that came top 5.
well, we talked about Young Guns before the tournament started, saying how they should probably do well. Scrappy Dudes, we were very interested to see how they did because they played in a lot of qualifiers, so didn't have the points. So would that translate because they would have a nice path? This Sway, they went on a run like yeah,
They were
City
Rev
Sound.
Sway was really good beforehand. Oh, they were
Yeah,
okay. They were decent. They were a decent E team before this weekend.
but
Power ranking at 1050.
but here's the interesting piece. Already seeing Ricky Sanford was picked up by a team because he's now dropped all tournament. That's actually the only one on the all tournament team that has been dropped um, from this team. But congratulations to Michael Mahoney, the tournament MVP, and the defensive tournament MVP, Andrew Kane from Rev Sway Athletics. Nice run from the fucking old and young fucks.
Yeah, and just looking back at these teams, Young Guns is a 1224 power ranking. They're easily
They're
getting
bumped.
bumped. Yeah, from it doesn't matter what they do the rest of the year.
Like Fatman's 1152 now.
And they're getting bumped anyway because
They're
they
getting
won a
bumped,
national.
right?
Yeah, but I mean, here's the thing about these teams. Like, I don't know much about City Sound, Scrappy Dudes, and Rev. I mean, we've seen City Sound; they're 2-2 in D. I don't
Rev
know
is
that a lot of these teams
1097,
would.
and
Well,
and
this
and
team, see, Young Guns is 6-8 in D. So I mean that makes
yeah,
sense that they're going to be a D team. You know what I mean? Like they
yeah.
make, and then Fat Man's 1-2. I mean, all those teams, they're closest. They're close enough to 500 in their next class that they'll be able to do it. They'll be able to play that up that next level for sure.
I was talking to the young money coach, and he was like, we went from E to D. He goes, it wasn't that big of a jump. He goes, yeah, it's a little different, but like, he goes, when we went from D to C, he goes, that's where it was like eye opening. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense.
Which coach was that?
Young Money, One Nation.
Oh, yep, yeah.
He was like, that's where you really saw a
Well,
big difference.
especially in One Nation where you have a DHH and you need a guy who can hit a home run every single time. It's so bad. It like if the guy's not hitting a home run, that's such a huge thing in that game. If that
It's
guy
almost
misses,
not. It's not like a double play, but it's like fuck.
yeah,
That's
it's a
that's
dagger.
one run.
You
Yeah,
know,
it is tough. Like when
yeah,
you would get a guy to miss the DHH to miss, fuck, I got so jacked up. I didn't care if it was a single or not.
yeah. But if he made an out, it was even that much better.
If he made an
Like,
out, oh my god, my pants came off. It was awesome.
yeah,
It was
that
great.
well they didn't, but maybe they did.
There's a couple times my shirt was coming up. Hey, also Gonzo, thanks for representing 71 nice all weekend. Gonzo
Oh my
playing in my
goodness,
jersey was fucking hilarious.
4x. He
Oh,
wore
poor
it well
Gonzo.
though.
He
He
did
wore it
wear it
well.
well. He hit well. Um, no, but that was good. And then moving on over to the C Natties, AUIT. I see you.
We've been talking about this though. Like they went on a run at the Firecracker. I feel
Yep.
like this team is getting hot at the right time. Hopefully they can keep this going for the next 2 months.
Well, and here's the thing: they beat Toro 34-18. They beat GTP checking 19-12. They beat LFT 26-7. They beat Reloaded 16-10, and then they beat Reloaded in the ship 18-12. Like
Beating LFT 26-7,
the fuck?
that's really good because LFT is a really good team.
Very good team. Very good. Although last couple
Toro
tournaments,
Toro, what was it? 30 something to what? 16?
30-18, 32. Hold on,
30.
just 34-18. Ouch,
Yeah,
my butthole hurts.
yeah, you're stomping on one of the better hitting teams around.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean?
I think you could say Toro's offensively probably one of the better hitting teams.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah,
see.
I definitely would say that. I mean, AUIT is probably the best hitting team.
Well, here's the thing. Toro 0-2, average 21 runs for to finish fifth. Allstate went 0-2 with 21.5. Any other team that averaged 21 runs for or higher finished fifth or better.
21 runs, yeah, other than Allstate.
Allstate and every other other than Allstate, everybody else was fifth or better. You had AUIT with 22.6 runs for. Their differential was 10.8.
Right, but the best in the tournament was 23 at ninth blackout.
Oh, I missed that. Oh yeah. So all right, my math was right.
But they just let up a ton of runs. But I mean that blackout team's also a really good team.
Couple good ads, really good ads there.
Yeah, I'm excited to see. I'm hoping that the Northeast is ready for a Worlds this year.
I do too.
I've said it a lot of times. I don't think that the C is poised to be in a good position. Maybe AUIT, a team like AUIT, can kind of prove me wrong there. But I don't know if the C team's going to do well. And I've seen stuff online. I've seen it on Facebook.
You see people calling out a podcast that say C team won't do well at Worlds.
Not only that, but I see people saying C is really good at this year. C is in a really good spot this year. I think regionally,
for the Northeast it is.
I think regionally it's doing unbelievably. Yeah. And I think next year you're going to see hopefully 24 teams at a C national.
I would love that. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't think that there's not a one team is way better than the rest of the pack. Not in the sense where I feel like there used to be. Maybe AUIT is that team now.
I think AUIT might have separated themselves this weekend. They were very good at the Firecracker, sure. I mean, they lost to Juno, right? They got run ruled by Juno, and Juno just went 0-2 and put up 18 runs with a negative 15 differential, 18 of 48. Meanwhile, AUIT just won it on a plus 10.8 differential. Fuck. 10.8? Right. I don't know. I mean, I'm curious to see.
So I'm curious as well, because you also I look at teams in upper classes as well. So that AUIT is 2-5 against teams that are B and above.
Okay.
So I mean, that's not like,
no,
that depends on what other directors are doing around the nation as to see what kind of teams show up to Worlds, that kind of thing. But yeah, I'm interested.
They've also played 7 games against B teams.
Right.
I like that. Because I'm looking here, Reloaded's 1-3 against B and above, 1-2 against B, 0-1 against A, 10-0 against D, 20-11 against C. It's I don't know. I'm curious to see the C division. I like C this year in the sense of it's 17 team natties. You actually have some teams here. It's been a fun division to watch all year. I think this is where the directors in the Northeast have been trying to get it to where guys are playing up and they're trying to get back to the old days where it's like, hey, you're not just playing E-ball just to play E-ball. Like, try to get to the middle. And I'm looking at this, like, LFT's been down I know they won C states, but they haven't shown great in 2 of the last 3 tournaments. I think
towards the end, yes.
Towards the end, they started off great. Towards the end. And this is a team where it's like you won a bunch early, but you're tapering off. AUIT's really picking up at the right time. Blackout, I know they went 2-2 in nationals, but they just picked up a couple guys there. The Firecracker, they had a nice run. They go 2-2. Not sure who was there, who wasn't there. I tell you, a couple teams that really surprised me right now: AZ Roofing, and Toro, and then Juno coming off that Firecracker. Juno with negative 15 is that's awesome.
Yeah, Juno, that was surprising to see, especially after the Firecracker. Yeah. But LFT's losses, going back to them, when they lose, they just don't even play hardly.
Really?
Like they lost to
Really?
AUIT at 26-7, and then they lost the next game that they lost was to Deluxe 21-1. They're not
Holy
even games
one.
when they lost in this tournament. Yeah.
So if you get up against LFT, it sounds like just stay there. You're gonna win.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Looks like I
This
mean
deluxe.
I think LFT is definitely a I'd say a defensive first type of team.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree with
With
that.
that kid, their shortstop, that kid
Crawford.
Crawford is fucking
Oh fuck.
outrageous.
Silly.
Yeah.
And he's like 20 fucking 3.
Yeah. With him and Mackle in the middle, it's very, very good.
And then you've got who's Smitty? No. Who's the third baseman?
Stewie was
Stewie.
at, but well, they
Stewie.
picked up Cy too. So
Oh, side.
Stewie might be at second,
Mhm.
Cy's at third now. And then they have Joe, right? Joe at
Hudden,
first.
Sleepy at
Yep.
first.
Sleep.
And then
Yeah.
you
So
got
that's a good
Bryce.
team, man.
Bryce has been fucking hitting. Bryce LaPierre, the Brockton brawler, has
He
been hitting
he
unfucking real this year.
mile. He hits it a mile.
He is a guy that needs to be on a calendar with his body this year.
He needs to be a DHH for some One Nation team. Could you imagine just telling him to hit a home run every time? He would love that,
He would be so fucking. He would be so happy. He'd be like,
and he'd be
just
able to do
fucking-
it 90% of the time.
Oh, and he looks great. Yeah, I'll be curious. I'm curious to see what happens with this Worlds here. I'm excited for it. If anybody wants me to come down to, Vieira, U-Trip, DW, do you want me to jump on a live stream and take it over for you guys?
Yeah, because the major's the same weekend.
Mm-hmm.
It starts
So-
the day I get there. So
So we're gonna have some fun, but that's mid-October. And then we've got one more. We got a big Northeast regional this weekend. We got the
D.
D Northeast, which this one is. I would say this one is pretty wide open, and by pretty wide open, I mean I think there's probably a solid. I don't know. I'm pulling up the power rankings right now. I don't know. Like I was talking. We were talking to Gonzo and Vandy, and they're like, the fucking Titans should win this. I'm like, all right, well,
yeah, I mean,
Let's see
what
what
is their
happens.
power rating? 1276. They've lost
1276.
6 games in class. Like this game, yeah. Then there's
Right.
also another Young Guns team.
that
At
team
close
from
to
New York
1200.
hits.
Yeah, they're
Played them, man.
34
They're
and 14. Yeah.
I gotta tell you, like Cupcakes Cannabis.
Wow.
Was it just from that one run at the Beast? I'm a little like, you don't see them traveling outside of of like Maine. I haven't even seen. I don't. They don't even weren't even. I haven't seen them in New Hampshire much since the Beast. Premiere on Broadway's heating up at the right time.
Even without the Beast, Cupcakes is 12 and 4 in class. So you take out
Yeah,
their probably one of
I'm
their
gonna-
best tournaments. They're still pretty good.
I'm probably gonna discount it though.
Okay.
I am discounting it. Ready? Beast of the East, they went 7-2. Great tournament, great run out of them. Firecracker, they went 1-2. Maine D States, they went 3-2. I don't know. I'm curious to see because it's been a New Hampshire DNIT early in the year, which wasn't well attended. Maine, you go to the Beast of the East. That I actually put more weight on the Beast of the East tournament than
Because they're playing a bunch of teams that they don't know.
correct.
Yeah.
Vacation Land, I don't give a fuck that you won that. Went 4-0. You won that tournament going 4-0. Firecracker, you
should.
go 1-2. Yeah. So you went 1-1 in pool and then lost your first.
Firecracker
game.
was tough though too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it was what one
Yeah.
One
You got
pool game
It was
into-
single elimination. 2 pool games into a
into
single
single?
elim.
two pool
I'm
into
just-
single and they lost their first game. So
Yeah.
it could have been a tough matchup too.
They lost to Jobin. 1970.
Okay, so there you go. Like that's another team that's not on the top of this power ranking list, but I feel like you gotta watch out for them. I feel like they're still
Absolutely.
a solid team. They're 9-8 in class, but that's that's what happens when
heard-
you
Or they
move up.
lost their
But
pitcher this weekend because of ASA.
ooh,
Already got injured. No, like
That's
I'm
not
going
good.
down. I'm looking at Integ. This is a team that sneaky quiet got put together halfway through the year. MP Sports Cards, we talked about them a lot. Woo City, good team. What team are you gonna get? You just gotta hit with them. Walk off's always good. SST so far gone. Like I feel like
we heard a
You're
little
at-
bit about this so far. Gone, Dr. Don's guys. a little bit this weekend.
You heard a
I
little
don't
bit about
remember. Yeah.
Dr. Don's. Yeah, heard a little
Yeah.
bit about some old guys on Dr. Don's.
Yeah.
Like I feel like if you're north of like that so far gone team, you have a shot.
You still have FHC Rudy's at 31-19 in class.
Good point.
That's still really good. Like there's some still some good teams down here.
26-18 with Ellis. Ellis went from potentially being bumped to now being at a 10.07 power ranking. And they're 26-18 in class. Wow. They've fallen off here in the last part of the year.
Yeah, but here's the other thing with this tournament. You always wonder what teams are going to pick up C guys because no one's playing because everyone played last weekend.
Exactly.
Which is like one of those which is one of those things that always happens in any D tournament, I feel.
Mm-hmm.
Always has the ability for some D team to just pick up C guys. That's not going to be a true reflection of what they look like at Worlds.
I agree. Like I'm very curious. Like I gotta tell you, like anything north of 1100, I'm curious to see what these teams. And Premier's the same way. Like Premier's the same way in the sense of Cupcakes Cannabis, but they've gone backwards. Like they went 2 in a D NIT. They went 1. They won the New Hampshire D States. You know, they were 6-3 in the Beast, so they're trending in that right direction. Are they going to go on a run? I don't know, man. Like
maybe
this is pretty open.
Winning New Hampshire D States is great and all, but there's better D around in the area that
I think I look at their Beast going like 6-2 or 6-3.
That's good.
That was.
Yeah.
You know, but I do look at the Titans. I look at Young Guns more. A&D, well, you played in Oxford and you played in fucking New Hampshire. Integ, you're playing a lot of top teams. City Sound, you know, this Whalers team is new. MP Sports Cards, we've seen you all year. Oh no, man, I think there's fucking 15 teams.
Yeah, when it gets to like I said it about the C's, when it starts to get to this point, I feel like you have to start looking at the teams that they played above in divisions above their division.
Good point. Yeah.
You have to start looking at that because that's what's going to separate the good teams from the really good teams. And that's also a true reflection of their roster because yeah, it's just all the C guys are actually playing in that tournament as well.
Well, I'm just looking at this real quick. I pulled up the Titans. Oh, they went in the Silver Flight. They went 7-0, but they played all. It looks like they played all D teams. Yeah, they did.
Also, I'm seeing a comment. I'm always hating. I'm not, dude. I'm not hating on Premier on Broadway at all. I think it's great that you won New Hampshire States, but I think there's better D teams in Mass.
And Connecticut.
To start with. And Connecticut.
Probably better teams in Rhode Island.
Historically, Mass and Connecticut have the better teams in almost every class.
But now you're also getting New Jersey and New York. You're getting New Jersey and New York coming up who are also playing better.
Yeah, I'm talking about New England. So the teams that we are seeing every weekend, it's always, Connecticut and Massachusetts. Long Island is a breeding pool for softball.
Yeah.
Right now. Like there are so many good Long Island teams. Like you're going to have to play. Pick a division. Exactly.
Yeah.
You're going to have to play a really good game to beat a good team from Long Island.
We never talked about Scrappy dudes, and they just finished third. Rev Sway Athletics just finished second in E. Look at Titans. Titans played in the Silver Flight last year at the Firecracker as an E team. Went to D Nationals last year. They fucked up on their roster, got called out for it. They're now 1276. Titans. I played Young Guns earlier this year. They fucking hit. They're 34-14 in class. They're playing each other. Like these teams, they're playing these Connecticut teams. Like, and I agree with you, D. Like, if you're sitting up here and playing Maine and New Hampshire, that's why I like Cupcakes Cannabis. I'm fucking curious to see what they do because they're only playing in New Hampshire and Maine, which I don't put much fucking weight on it. If you really wanted to go through and actually do a weighted analytics thing, I'm not putting much weight on New Hampshire and Maine softball because it's the same teams for the most part. You'd have to wait it out But
Yeah, I think A&D in D has a really good chance to win any D tournament they go to.
yeah, if they have their guys, yeah, they
Which
should. If
it seems
everybody
like when
does,
they're going to a tournament, they have the majority of their team
yeah, like
because they
this
don't play
tournament,
very
they're going to
much.
have their team.
Right. Yeah, and
Yeah,
that's going to be So like I'm not hating on every team. I'm just saying like that team's also they haven't won a game in above class, but they've played against two B teams, two C teams. Like they're going out there and playing in the open tournaments. So,
mm-hmm.
but they also know how to, they know how to win at the C level. We saw it last year. They were almost 500 or 500.
Yeah, they got
But
every class.
yeah,
But like Pizza Shop, if Walkowitz is there and like they get their whole team, like they could go on a run. Job and Painting, with Blaker being hurt now, that could be tough. FW Dennis Limits. Why wouldn't you pick up Zay? If they picked up like Zay and who's a D ranked pitcher, you pick up Isaiah from Smoke and you pick up another guy and you bring them with you. Like Jesus, fuck, that could be a dangerous team.
right.
Yeah. This D I think could go pretty deep, and it all comes down to the matchups in
Yeah,
the bracket.
in this
I think
big of a
always
tournament, it's
always
always
is.
going to. You're going to have to beat good teams, and
Hmm.
yeah, you're going to have to get lucky in this kind of a tournament. And City Sound is in this tournament too.
Yeah, which I
Nice, good
love. I
work.
love that.
Yeah, I like seeing that as well.
All right, let's take a look. Like, I mean, A&D could face Immortal Llamas in game 2. That's not an easy one. Jade Dragon Kind Guy going a different breed. I think
Oh, they actually have It's already
the
out
bracket's
already.
already out.
Man, Jade Dragon and Kind Guy right off the bat is tough.
Rocksteady, FW Dennis Limits, going into Young Guns. Willie Boys Integ. Like Integ could be like Integ is going to beat Willie Boys, and I wouldn't be shocked if they beat Ellis Painting, especially on that smaller
Yeah,
field.
it's
I
possible.
could see that, and now they're in the final 16, whatever that is there, in the winners bracket. Mayhem versus Seminoles. We just saw Mayhem go on a run at the D Mass States, a 18-team tournament, not a 7-team state tournament in New Hampshire. Premier on Broadway's got 203 Hyenas. They should fucking win that. You know what I mean? So like you start looking at some
Yeah,
of
so you
these
want here I am
brackets.
not hating. Premiere on Broadway is going to start out 1, 2. They're going to start out 3-0 in this tournament, I
I
think.
don't think so. I
They
think
could lose that third game, but I think they're going to win their
I
first
think
two
they could
games.
lose that second game. Like Mayhem, the way
I don't
they
think so.
beat Mayhem beat a lot of good teams. I'm not saying they will. I think that third game for them, they're either going to be two. I could see them playing at 7:30 at the Plex, or I could see them losing that second game. And it's not a thing. Like I don't know. Mayhem surprised fucking everybody at D States and Mass.
Right, that's why I'm saying Premiere
Yeah.
on Broadway beats them.
So
It's
then
I
I think,
mean
yeah,
a surprise. It's either getting hot or it's a surprise at this point
it's
in
a
the year.
fruit. But I mean that 7:30 game, whoever that is, if it is Premier and Integ or Ellis, that's gonna be a hell of a fucking game. Um, it really is. In a 51 team tournament, it's
Yeah,
all about fucking matchups.
yeah. I mean,
Lost Brothers, Job and Painting going into So Far Gone. Like, So Far Gone, I could see going on a run here. Like, I like their matchups. Rhode Island Rays, SST, LFG. I think So Far Gone is putting themselves into Sunday morning pretty easily. Um, Walk off could, walk off. Who knows? It's fun to look at the brackets when we actually have this because it really gives you. I think whoever has like this top piece, like whoever MP Sports Cards plays, and whoever wins that game, I think is going to make it to Sunday.
yeah. I
Oh,
was
I
just
shouldn't say
looking at
that.
this
Yeah,
this part of the bracket, and that Titans MP Sports will be a good gauge on what team. You know what I mean? Like because Titans have kind of been running everything, and MP Sports have kind of been running.
yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like I think Titans are going to beat Woo City.
I think
It's
that could
probably
be
going to
a
be a good
fucking
game.
hell of a game. That'd be a
Yeah,
chirpy fucking game too.
Titans is almost they've got a tough road to win this tournament, but I think that's going to play into their hand a little bit, and
Jesus Christ, you're
I think
right.
it's going to be good for them.
They
To
have a
to
fucking awful fucking. They have an awful draw.
their first game should be an easy
That's a
win,
cakewalk. Yeah.
but then you got Woo City, you got Jeff Strains. Depending on who's on Jeff Strains, like that team has also
Yeah.
kind of come out of nowhere and won some games too. Yeah. Then you have Cupcakes.
Yeah.
You've got Full Send, and you've got MP Sports Cards.
Like that's a, it's this is I
And
love
that's
brackets. I love brackets.
yeah, I do too. And
It's
then
so
you have
much
a team
fun.
out of Southington,
The
Connecticut, or however you
Whalers.
spell it. 3-3 PGC.
Oh, PGC.
Yeah, they've played two tournaments.
They played Firecracker. Went 4-1 at Firecracker, then 1-2 and
Yeah, so who knows what is going to happen there, but this is exciting. It's nationals time. It's time to look at
yeah.
huge brackets. World's
It's time to
time.
hate on teams.
Yeah, it's time to start continuing my hate towards all the teams.
I love how you're the one that always says, like, always the one that's like, man, you're hating on us. You're hating. I say the most outlandish shit, but you're the one that's always hating on people.
Yeah, it's because people want my approval. I don't know why. Maybe they're just like, JRo's gonna hate us anyway. We want to really know what Dustin says. No.
We want the ball. We want the ball player on the podcast to actually fucking be able to give us a little daps.
It's funny. I like hating on teams too.
Yeah, it's so
it's
much
fun sometimes. Yeah,
but
I like looking at a bracket. I like and I hardly know who's on what team. I look at your record. I look at if you've chirped me. Doesn't matter.
I'm the guy that actually watches a lot of these games and broadcasts them and like knows what the fuck's going on. But you get this shit.
I get the shit. Why. Yeah, and Coco gets nothing because
he's
He's
Coco.
Yeah.
All right. We'll see you guys. We'll see. Good luck this weekend, Nationals.
Yeah.
We'll see you guys. We'll see you guys next week. Have a great one, everybody.
Good luck this weekend, and thanks for hanging out tonight.